Imagine, just for a moment, that within you, right now, there is a hidden message. It's not written in your genes. It isn't merely a basic survival instinct, but something far deeper. A secret sign, a whisper of a mighty truth pointing directly to God's existence. What if the best evidence for God isn't somewhere far off in the cosmos or in ancient books, but is, in fact, a real part of you? Today, we're not just talking about an idea. We're going to dig deep within ourselves. We're searching for that special imprint, that echo of a great designer, hidden in the most ordinary, everyday human moments. Are you ready to discover perhaps the most personal reason to believe in God you've ever encountered? Let's start with something we've all seen or experienced. An argument. Someone cuts you in line. Someone breaks a serious promise. Or maybe you're the one who's been wronged. Your idea stolen, your trust betrayed. That instant feeling, that voice inside you screaming, "That's not right!" Where does this strong feeling actually come from? When we argue, when we feel that powerful sense of injustice, we're doing something astonishing. We don't just say, "I don't like this." We, often without realizing it, appeal to some common rule book, a standard of what's fair that we just expect everyone somehow to know. And here's the truly astounding part. The other person almost never says, "Your rule book means nothing to me." Instead, they try to explain why their actions fit within that same invisible law. They make excuses, try to explain it away, perhaps even ask for forgiveness. It's as if, beneath all our disagreements, both sides agree there's a higher arbiter of what's right. Without this common, unspoken agreement, we just resort to animalistic aggression. But we humans argue. We try to prove the other person is in the wrong. This only makes sense if there is a real, actual right. This deep inner sense, which some bold thinkers have called the law of human nature, is our first major clue. It's a law not about how physical things work, but about ourselves, a law we feel we ought to obey. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, don't different cultures have completely different ideas about what's right and wrong? That's a good question. And yes, customs can look different on the surface. But let's look closer. Has any group of people ever truly admired someone who betrays their closest friends just to get ahead? Has cowardice or complete selfishness, with no regard for anyone else, ever been considered the best way to behave? No. Differences are merely superficial, but the core ideas, like justice, honesty, courage, care for others, shine through in surprisingly similar ways everywhere. People may disagree on how or to whom these good things apply, but the basic good ideas are recognized by all. Could this moral sense, echoing across all cultures, be the echo of God's own voice? And here's where it gets very personal. Consider even someone who claims all morality is just a matter of opinion. See what happens when they are personally cheated, lied to, or badly wronged. That instinctive cry, unfair, it overrides all their arguments. It's powerful. It's real. But this leads to a second, much more unsettling discovery. It is almost impossible to silence. It's as if it's imprinted deep within us. So, our first major discovery on this path. Human beings are constantly reminded, guided, and judged by an inner moral law that whispers of a universal standard. This isn't just the way our minds work. It feels like something spiritual, but this leads to a second, much more unsettling discovery. If this moral law is indeed a reflection of God's will, then we have a big problem. Because if we're truly honest with ourselves, we don't live up to it. None of us do. Forget the big, dramatic failures. Just think about your ordinary day. That small choice you made that wasn't quite right, just to make things easier. That little half-truth to avoid looking bad. That moment you chose yourself when you knew you shouldn't. That time you knew what was right, felt its pull, and chose the other way. We all have these moments where we ignore that good voice within us. And what do? We make excuses. We try to explain it away. I was tired. Everyone does it. I had no choice. The enormous effort we put into these excuses actually shows how much power this law has over us. If we didn't truly believe in a real standard, why would we try so hard to defend ourselves? Our excuses are like involuntary admissions, showing we know God's standard even as we break it. Here, then, is the profound human dilemma, the two undeniable truths that set us on the path to discovering God. We are all deeply aware of a moral law, like an inner compass from God, pointing to what is perfectly good. We regularly, and often knowingly, fail to follow it. These aren't just interesting facts. They are like warning signs, telling us something huge and important is happening just beneath the surface of our lives. So, what exactly is this moral law? Is it just a basic instinct, like the drive to survive or protect our children? Consider this. Your instincts often pull you in different directions. You see someone drowning. One part of you screams, "Run, save yourself." Another, perhaps quieter part, whispers, "Help him." The moral law is neither of these instincts. It's more like a judge, standing over your instincts, deciding which one you ought to follow. It often pushes you towards the harder choice, the more selfless act. The voice telling your instinct to be brave cannot be the instinct itself. It sounds as if it comes from a higher place. All right, you might reply, but isn't this just something society has taught us? We certainly learn moral customs from how we're raised. But is the rule "do not kill" the same as "drive on the left side of the road"? One is just a traffic rule that could change. The other feels absolutely true. The most fundamental ideas of right and wrong feel less like things we've invented and more like truths we've discovered. Or perhaps truths that have been shown to us. When we talk about moral improvement, for instance, saying that slavery is wrong and its abolition was a real step forward, we are acknowledging, without saying it, that there is an ideal standard, a true north, by which we measure all our ideas of right and wrong. This true north, this absolute standard, cannot be something we've created ourselves, or it would change whenever we pleased. It points to a lawgiver, a source of what is absolutely good. This moral law isn't just a beautiful idea. It's a strong, real feeling, an ought that doesn't care about our desires. Its very existence, separate from our preferences, seems to demand a greater explanation than simply "people made it up." Could this be the true voice of God, even if sometimes muffled by our own noise, echoing within every human being? If this moral law, as it so strongly seems, is a direct line to God's character, what does it tell us about him? It reveals a God who cares deeply about what is right, about justice, courage, and love. A God who, in the deepest sense, is perfectly good. But this understanding comes with a startling revelation. The moral law, in its pure, unyielding demand for perfection, is not soft. It doesn't just overlook things. It is relentless. It demands you do what is right, what is fair, no matter how hard, painful, or costly. If God is the source of this law, then God isn't like some indulgent old man who just forgives everything or doesn't care what we do. And this puts us in a difficult position. If there is no God, no absolute good behind everything, then our deepest desires for a better world, our struggles for what is right, our sacrifices for love, all of it is ultimately meaningless, like a brief performance in a universe that doesn't care. That's a pretty bleak thought. But if there is a God, and he is the ultimate source of this unyielding moral law, then we, who consistently fail to meet his standards, are in a perilous situation. We find ourselves at odds with the very being who is the source of all good, the foundation of our own sense of right and wrong. It's as if we were made to reflect his goodness, but instead, we keep choosing darkness. It's terrifying to imagine a universe without meaning, but a perfectly good God whose rules we break makes us shudder. We need him for life to have meaning, yet we fear his judgment. In this light, he is our only true hope, and also what we deeply dread. This uncomfortable feeling, this deep inner conflict, is not a sign that the argument is wrong. It's a sign we're getting close to something incredibly real. It's the human spirit awakening to its true condition before its creator. The claim is bold. This inner moral law, this constant sense of what we ought to do is not just a fluke of nature or something society simply invented. It is evidence. It is a direct signal. It is God's own voice echoing in your very soul, calling you not to easy answers, but to a deep, life-changing encounter with truth itself.